My name is Alex Kettles. Kevin, Dave, thanks. Thank you. You here? Thank you so much. For you guys that both got lives that are really worth reading, for anyone that's got eyes to see. You know, what I want to do is, I love to fish. And so why not start off with a fishing story? And it's gotten better over the years, if you know what I mean. But anyway, I love to fish, and I've had the opportunity to go to Alaska many, many times. And I was on a favorite stretch of river up there on the Russian River that basically flows into the Kenai, and I was fishing with two of my really good buddies that go all the way back to my Boise State years. And we were fishing for sockeye. There was a 5 limit per day on the sockeye. They'd open up the sanctuary there, and so there was a kind of a fishing Pentecostal experience going on. And so what happened was, we went over there. What happens is, you ever seen a picture of combat fishing in Alaska, where they're shoulder to shoulder? That's something that I try to really evade at all costs. And so we would go over later when the last ferry would take people across and have some room to spread out and fish. So we got over there, the three of us, and we're fishing in a favorite spot of ours. And I just got into my hunting hole, and this gentleman, you know, probably in his mid-70s or so, he just kind of shuttles down and plants himself right next to me, and he moved out several feet where, if you know anything about salmon fishing, they choose the path of least resistance so they'll stay close to the shore. So, you know, I didn't feel like I needed to be coaching this guy. There's plenty of fish, and anyway, he steps in and he starts fishing. Well, he looked like he was dressed to kill, like he knew what he was really doing, but in fact, he was somewhat flagellating the water. And so all these fish were right there. I could see them. And what happened is that I was casting. Now, when you're fishing for salmon there, you're using a lead weight, and you've got about 18 inches of leaders, and you've got a coho fly on there. And when you drift through, you're bouncing through, and essentially what you do is you floss the fish. The leader will float up with a fly, and sockeyes will swim with their mouths open all the time. And so basically that line will just go through, and you'll floss them, and you'll always, on a fair hook them on the inside of the mouth. So if you feel resistance, you're either hitting the bottom or you got fish, and my motto is, you cannot set the hook hard enough. Well, consider the source. So anyway, I'm fishing, and I'm casting out in front of him and coming through, and all of a sudden, you know, there's a resistance, and it stops, and so I just do this, and it just, all of a sudden, the fly comes screaming out of the water with that lead weight, and just boom, hits this gentleman right in the chest, and the fly sticks him right in the hand. So I walk over there and I reel up. And I go, sir, I'm really sorry. I got my needle nose. And he is just facing the river as if, like, I'm not even taking up space on the planet. And I walk over there and pull that fly out of his hat, and he's still just looking straight ahead. So I just move further on. And then I'm watching him at a distance, and he is just not working this hole right, and the fish are just stocked in there. And so, you know, in 5 minutes I can come working my way back, and now we're fishing fairly close to one another. So we're back, and you're fishing in unison and drifting through, and so all of a sudden, same things happen. This is a little bit shallower of water, but the fish really lay in there, and so boom, boom, boom. I mean, it was the carbon copy. And my buddies, two of these guys, I mean, they are just roaring. They're on the bank, and they're roaring, and just giving me grief. And so I'm trying to be courteous to this gentleman. And I walk over and I do this is the same old. And then I end up going down the river, and then I come back. You know what? A righteous man falls 7 times and rises again. In football, they used to say, good things never happen lying on the carpet. So get your, you know what, up and keep moving. So I got back there and did the same thing. Well, I hit fish. And this fish just goes ballistic. Sockeye salmon are just really fun to catch. But we were out so far in the water that this fish makes a power run, and he comes right between us. And then he heads back down the river and goes out, and guess what he does? He heads back upriver. And so I just cinched him. This gentleman has got a knot around him. And so I reel out, and I get to him, and he's just standing there like, you know, it's like he's practicing his paralysis by analysis. And I come around, and I reach around him, and I go, sir, I'm really sorry. And I back the fish up, and I get him on the bank, and I'm just kind of mortified at this whole thing. And so I get back up, and the fish spits the hook right there on the gravel wall. Well, I do what any ex-linebacker would do. And there's a loose ball, what do you do? So and you know, God gave me a pair of paws. So I grabbed this thing, and I grabbed the salmon, and I'm looking for, you know, a rock or anything, and all of a sudden I just, heck with it. I just picked it up and just went, boom, and hit it, because you gotta knock the fish out. So I hit it right between the eyes, and you hear this, and this death squeal. So I stick him on the stringer, and I walk back out, and I'm a happy camper. Well, what happens is this other guy's buddy is now joining him down in the river. Well, this guy now starts shuffling, and he goes like this, and he's walking back up, and he goes like, Harry, where are you going? And he just finally just goes, I'm getting the hell out of here. This guy is dangerous. Oh, boy. I mean, that was a toned down vernacular, but